let's talk about a team who are just set on giving away these championships. Freaking McLaren. They frustrated me to no end this weekend. Are they just giving away these championships? It looks like they have no desire to help Lando Norris win the Drivers' Championship. They had these Papaya Rules in place that let Oscar Piastri just send one up the inside at the first chicane, which is great. Awesome move by Oscar. Kept it clean. Lando was super annoyed about it after the race. I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff from the Lando Norris fan base online that is just absolutely bashing Oscar Piastri. But it's not Oscar's fault. If the team said they could race and Oscar could do it clean and there was no contact, that's the way that it went. And we saw Lando Norris make a couple mistakes, and then McLaren just handed Ferrari the race on a silver platter by just saying, we'll give you track position, we'll do the two-stop, you can have 18 seconds ahead of you as well as Carlos Sainz in between us, and we'll just see what happens. That gap was never going to get closed down. And then at the end, when it was clear that Oscar wasn't going to make it, you go ahead and make the switch between the drivers. That's now 10 points that Lando Norris has lost over the course of this season by not switching with Oscar Piastri. What are McLaren doing right now?
I don't know. It's really confusing. I don't get it. Especially at the very least, what you just mentioned at the end of the race, switch them, because if Lando has any shot at the Drivers' Championship, it's these extra points, these 2-3 points, these fastest lap points that are going to make all the difference. You can't keep counting on Max Verstappen to finish P6. I know Red Bull doesn't look great right now, but as we have seen time and time again over the last 3 years, Red Bull and Max Verstappen, they know how to bounce back after a bad weekend. So, I hate to say it, but it's possible that Red Bull comes back next weekend and can win a race. They're not completely out of this. We have to remember that they're still leading both championships. So if the season were to end today, they would win. So I think if you're McLaren and you're Zach Brown, you gotta kind of have that mindset of like, we're not winning yet. It looks like we might, but you're not there yet. I think, whatever, let them race. If Oscar gets it in the first lap, let them duke it out. But if he doesn't, then, they're racing like they have nothing to lose when they have everything to lose.
It truly is their titles to lose. You're totally right about that. As a Formula One fan who is just here for the entertainment of it, that Oscar Piastri move was great. That was awesome to see. It was an incredible overtake around the outside. Absolutely caught Lando Norris napping. You could see in the way that Lando Norris almost bended when Oscar Piastri went around the outside of him. Incredible move. For the sake of both titles, absolutely unacceptable. You have to find a way to make sure that doesn't happen, because not only did you give away Lando Norris getting 26 points when Red Bull was clearly the fourth fastest team this weekend, which isn't going to be happening forever. You got to remember, Red Bull is not a midfield car. We've seen all top 4 teams win races this season, and it's Max Verstappen and Red Bull. You can't count on them not winning any more races this year. That's truly a possibility. We saw Helmut Marko say they're going to be competitive again from Coda onwards, which is still 5 races to end the season. And so Red Bull aren't just going to go out of this lying down and let you have it. So you gave away constructors points, you gave away drivers championship points. And yes, I'm happy for the entertainment. Oscar looked to be the faster driver on race day. He made less mistakes as well. But you're going to have to make Oscar upset a little bit if you're going to fully back Lando for a title. I know they're both great drivers. They both could be number 1 drivers on their own team. And McLaren doesn't want to say that there's a specific number 1 and number 2 drivers, but you just have to look at the facts how they are. Oscar Piastri is still 40-something points behind Lando Norris. I know he's mathematically still in it. He's not going to win the driver's title this year. Lando Norris has a chance to win the driver's title this year. So at some point, your Papaya rules have to stop being these vague, weird, random set of rules that no one really knows what they are to Lando is 1, Oscar is 2. We're going to switch positions if we have to. Race, keep it clean. If it's not going to have an outcome on the championship, yes, race, but maximize points in both titles. And that's not what the team did this weekend.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. And I mean, I saw Will Buxton talking about it in an interview, and he was really angry about it. And he brought up an interesting point, which maybe Oscar has something in his contract that prevents him from being referred to as the number 2 driver or having that standing in the team, which I don't know. if that's actually true or how feasible that is to work into a Formula One driver's contract. But I don't know. It just seems like there's something going on that nobody understands, especially McLaren. So I don't know. It's just strange. It's very strange.
Well, Oscar's manager is Mark Webber. And so if there was any former driver who was going to make sure that his young talent would not be referred to as the number 2 driver, it would be Mr. Multi-21 himself, Mark Webber. So it's definitely a possibility. But also there's a whole bunch of stuff online just making fun of Will Buxton for the absolute British bias that he had in that rant. And yes, some was there, but most of what he said was completely valid. McLaren have to figure it out if they want to win the championship.